What's up, guys? Got another awesome knife review for you today. Yet another Spyderco. I seem to be on a Spyderco kick here lately. But Tai Chung Factory at Spyderco is really producing some sweet stuff. I just recently reviewed the Paisan and the Techno 2, which I really love both of those knives. And today I received the Spydiechef. I saw a lot of reviews on this knife. I probably watched 15 reviews on it. Some really respected reviewers claim this is their favorite knife right now. This is the best. Some say Spyderco, and some say this is their best knife they found this year. I'm not going to stretch out that far. I really like it. It's going to stay in my permanent collection. Get that out of the way real quick. It's a great knife out of the Tai Chung Factory. It's a Marcin Slish design. They're just great knives. There's a few things on here that I kind of expected that I didn't get. And I don't know why they kind of steered away from that process. You know, the things they were doing that really made those knives amazing. This is a great knife, but I think if you put it up next to the Techno 2, the Techno 2 is a cooler knife. It just has better finishes. Now this is really reasonably priced for the size knife it is, like $200 and some odd dollars, but for what it is, that's an amazing price. And you know, I had a high mark for them. One thing is, I really like the jimping from the way they do the jimping from the Tai Chung Factory. And here's an example of that. I mean, it's just smooth and almost jewelry-like, and on the Paisan as well too. I mean, look at that. That's just, I would think you would want to show that off here, but they didn't. They chose not to. But you know, not a deal killer. Also, the finishes on these knives are a really special hand rubbed satin that really glisten in the sunlight. This one's more of a belt finish, but you know, still nice. It doesn't have the chamfering around the Spidey hole like the other ones do. I mean, the other ones feel like glass there. Also, I don't know why the Marcin Slish collections don't have an not over travel stop, but a lock bar insert. I mean, not that they need it. I mean, this one maybe a hair sticky, but not really. The other ones I have nothing. I mean, it's like glass. So maybe they just don't need it, but I would think that'd be something that I would want to do. They have the wire clip. It's a good clip. A lot of people love that more than any other clip. I like this. I like the shiny spoon clip they put on there. I think that's a cool clip. The finish that they put on here, this bead blasting, is beautiful when it's new, before you use it. After a few days of using it, that's what it looks like. So I'll probably end up redoing that. And I don't want to seem like I'm down on this knife. I just had ridiculous expectations for it because of the last few knives I've handled, and because I'm such a huge fan of the Slish buoy. And I actually got very lucky yesterday, and a very nice person messaged me and offered me to sell their additional Slish buoy. And I'm completely pronouncing that wrong. I'm doing the best I can. So I have that on the way, and I didn't have to pay 5 house payments for it. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm very grateful to that person. I really wanted that knife, and I know that knife's going to be what I expect it to be. Something else about this knife, a little different, and that may be why the finishes are the way they are and things are a little sharp. This is out of the Salt series. This is not a steel most of us are familiar with. It's supposed to be extremely corrosion resistant. This is the second variation of this knife. They released the first variation, and it was pretty much waterproof. The only issue they had is the detent ball in outrageous condition was putting off a little bit of, like saltwater condition, was putting off a little bit of rust inside here. So they released a second version I forget what they call it. It's a quality control improvement version. And they changed that ball, I believe, to ceramic. So this knife could now live in salt water. It's part of the salt series. So that's really cool, especially with it being for food prep. And that narrow blade with that really wide blade and that swoop, this knife is absolutely fantastic for food prep. I don't steer towards that too much. I do food prep maybe at the deer lease or something like that, but this knife could still be great for EDC, despite it being, Spydiechef. It is super, super light, 3.75 ounces. I mean, it's like nothing. The action is, hydraulic, straight out of the box. Can't really Spidey flick it yet, but it's got some breaking in to do. I've got to tweak it. Like I said, I just got it today. Has a great profile like that. It looks really cool to me. Not as cool like that. It almost looks like the blade is bent backwards, but I get it. That's for food prep to keep your knuckles off the countertop. Works well for that, but aesthetically, I think I would have straightened that blade up just a little, and I think it would have had even more popularity. But, it's just my opinion. Also, I would have made this hardware stainless, or at least a satin color instead of the black. Now, if you see the satin color, that's the first version. The quality control version, constant quality control is what it's called. Constant quality control version is all black. That means the upgrade has been made to the detemp ball. The first ones are satin. This Spidey hole has got some bite to it, which I'm not opposed to. A lot of my Medfords are like that, and it really makes it easy to flick them out. My hands grab them really well. But there's also something to be said for that smooth chamfering, that glassy feel. I mean, I love that. So I have 2 of the 3 versions of the Martin Sleece, and of course the Sleece Bowie will complete my collection, minus the Techno 1, and I just feel like the Techno 1 and Techno 2 are practically the same knife. Really no sense in owning both of them. Now these are all 3 of my knives from the Tai Chung factory. I'm super impressed with all of them. Those guys are just killing it. The finish on this one seems to hold up. This one's the oldest one I have, and the finish doesn't show snail trails and all that. I've carried this one way more than I've carried this one. This one's only a few days old, and you see, just barely touched my keys or something, and it's starting to scratch off. But not a big deal. Those are what we call snail trails. They're not really scratches into the titanium. It's going to be a shame, but I'll probably one day anodize that. Probably flame it or something, or send it to Chris Elstrom and put the lightning pattern on there. Lightning anodization. It looks really cool. Be a shame to erase that. That contrast between these 2 colors right here, to me, is really cool. All of these blades from the Tai Chung factory come scalpel sharp. This one, I think, is the sharpest. The only thing this steel gives up, from what I've learned on it, is it gives up a little bit of edge retention. But just insane corrosion resistance, like 98% of what H1 does, which is crazy. This steel was actually invented by NASA, and well, take that for what you will. Let's put a couple of other knives up against it, some you might be more familiar with. Medford Slim Midi. Very similar in size. The Micro Praetorian. The Medford 187 DP. This knife definitely has its purpose, and absolutely works great as an ADC. I'd like to see a couple of the things that it doesn't have, but still no knock on it. The quality's still there. It's hydraulic. One thing about Tai Chung is they like to put the lockup to these knives. I mean, that's a late lockup for not a bad thing. That's a late lockup for a new knife, but there doesn't seem to be an issue with it. They don't seem to have problems with it. Super light. I definitely could have went staying with the satin hardware, but that was their decision to identify their upgraded version. But anyway, guys, that's a Spydiechef. Soon as the Swiss buoy gets here, you can bet you guys will be one of the first ones to see it. It's actually it's an American flag edition. It has an American flag on it. So I'm just super stoked about seeing it. I can't even find another one like it. So it's probably pretty valuable and pretty rare. Guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. And I had several requests to turn the video around, so when you guys watch it on a TV, it was a larger screen. So I did that, and I hope things come out a little better for you, and I appreciate the advice. Y'all have a great day. God bless.